Very good afternoon and a warm welcome to a rather chilly Duisburg in Germany and the European Olympic Canoe Sprint Qualifiers, where it's the final chance for athletes from European nations to secure places for their country at the Olympic Games in Rio this summer. We have a packed race schedule this afternoon, all of them finals. We'll start off with the women's K1 500 metres, the men's K1 and C1 1000 metres, the men's K2 200 metres and the women's K2 500 metres. Then they'll be followed by the finals of the men's K2 and C2 1000 metres and the men's K1 and C1 200 metres, and finally the women's K1 200 metres. Now, in each individual event, the first two athletes to cross the line will qualify places for their countries at Rio, but in the pair events there's just one boat quota place up for grabs in each discipline, so it'll be all or nothing for the K2 and C2 paddlers. They need to win to seal that spot. Now, alongside me this afternoon is Australian international paddler Elise Burnett, who will make her Olympic debut in Rio in the K2 500 metres with Alyssa Bull. Elise, how are you? And is it nice to be up here and watching for a change? Have a day off?
Yeah, it definitely is nice to be watching. Tension's high. There's a lot at stake for the girls. We've been through that and we're through the other end. So, yeah, we're pretty happy and good to be watching.
So the first race out on course is the final of the women's K1 500 metres. Remember, just two places up for grabs in the Olympic Games in Rio this summer, and it's a very good start from Sabrina Herring of Germany out in lane 5. She seems to have got away really nicely, spearheading that start out, and also going well out on the far side. That's Serbia's Kristina Bedek, who's kind of putting the pressure on along there, and also Martina Kolova of Slovakia in lane 6, going very strongly. But at the moment, this is looking quite close.
Yeah, definitely. I think Sabrina, she's been a really good under-23 paddler. I've been against her quite a few times, but Martina's been in Australia training over summer, so I think you'll see a good showing from her.
Yeah, it's still Sabrina Herring of Germany out in front at the moment. An absolutely amazing CV for a 24-year-old. Reigning world champion in K2000, reigning under-23 world champion in K2 500, and bronze in the K2 200 at Worlds last year as well. So going really well. That's Sabrina Herring out in lane 5 at the moment. Martina Kolova, as you said, still putting the pressure on, but it is those two boats, and I think Kolova now is coming alongside Sabrina Herring. Can Martina Kolova of Slovakia take that first place from Sabrina Herring? But remember, two athletes will qualify places for Rio, and at the moment they're looking really strong.
Yeah, it's going to come right down to the wire here. I think the last 100 metres, it'll definitely be make or break for the girls. You will see a couple of the third place chicks coming up to try and grab that second spot and that first spot, but Martina's really powering at home at the moment, and yeah, you can see her winter training's really coming to bear, and yeah, she's pushing hard, but it's certainly not over. The Germans still really pushing hard, and here comes Yvonne Schuring from Austria up on the inside.
Yeah, it looks like about 50 metres to go now, and Yvonne Schuring from Austria, 38 now, really putting the pressure on these two, but I think they've got too much at the moment, and that's just such controlled paddling, isn't it, from Sabrina Herring of Germany. They're coming towards the finish line, and it's been neck and neck, but it will be Sabrina Herring of Germany that takes first, ahead of Martina Kolova of Slovakia in second. Those two will qualify places for Rio 2016, and Yvonne Schuring of Austria just being pipped out. She's just a quality athlete and a real example, isn't she, Yvonne Schuring?
Yeah, definitely. I still remember in 2011 when her and Vicky won the K2000. It was at my first World Championships, and when she crossed the line, she was just screaming for so long, and it just showed how much work and how much passion went into that race. So yeah, it was a really good one to watch.
And when you've got such close racing out the front like that, you're eyeballing each other out the corner of your eyes. How do you kind of, keep calm, keep relaxed, stick to your race plan? How do you do that?
I think it's all about not looking beside you. When you're a junior paddler, you go through races and you're always having a look. But I think the biggest thing is to keep your eyes in your own lane and focus on what you're doing yourself.
So that's the start there, just seeing that again on the screen. That's Irina Loric of Romania we're just seeing there. She just missed out. But Yvonne Schuring in lane 3, that Austrian paddler, she didn't finish in the top two today, but she could still technically qualify. She's next in line on countback if Brazil do manage to qualify at the American qualifiers this weekend. So still a chance for Yvonne Schuring to be at the Games in Rio this summer. So fantastic racing from the girls there, and really tight racing as well. Fantastic to see. They'll join New Zealand, China, Azerbaijan, Slovenia, Portugal, South Africa and Canada, who qualified from the World Championships last year. And I can imagine Lisa Carrington of New Zealand will be the one to beat the reigning world champion in K1, 200 and 500 metres. And there we have the results, the final times. It was Sabrina Herring of Germany that took that in a time of 1:55.3778. Martina Koller of Slovakia just 0.3 of a second behind her. Yvonne Schuring pushed out into third. So the next race on course this afternoon will be the final of the men's C1 1,000 metres. And some big names in this event to keep an eye out for. We've got out in lane 4, Leonid Karp. He was the fastest qualifier through from the heats. He won Heat 2 in a time of 3:52.324. Just 19, but the current world champion in C4 1000. He's going to be one to beat. And just there on the screen there, that's Carlo Ticini of Italy. Again, just 21 years old. He won bronze at the Under-23 World Championships last year. A former medalist at the Marathon Worlds as a junior as well. Now in lane 6, we're just seeing there in the foreground, that is the Bulgarian Angel Kodinov, just 18 years old. I think he's going to be one to watch as well. If not this year, then definitely one for the future. And Matej Rusnak of Slovakia in lane 5 as well. And they're just lining themselves up and getting into the blocks. So a real race of kind of youngsters here. You've got, likes of Leonid Karp, 19 years old. Angel Kodinov of Bulgaria, 18 years old. The oldest is Matej Rusnak, 28 years old. The only one in this race is actually born in the 80s, so that's making me feel quite old. So they're underway now in the final of the men's C1 1,000 metres. It does look like a strong start from lane 5. And that is Matej Rusnak of Slovakia, I think, out there. Oh no, he's not. He's just dropped back. It's actually Leonid Karp, the guy we mentioned just a moment ago, that leads out in that red boat out in lane 4.
And I think you'll see a lot of tactics come into play with the C1000. It's quite a long race, so you'll have some guys really go out hard at the start, but some guys will try and evenly pace it. And I know our 1,000 boys really try to hit those 250s at an even pace and hopefully even go faster in the last 250. So, the boys will be obviously looking, or not looking, but keeping an eye on everyone side to side and really hit it hard that last 250.
You can really see them now, 250 metres gone, but you can really see those front paddlers keeping the power. And Leonid Karp out there at the front. He's leading Strahina Malajic of Serbia. I've practiced that quite a lot and I'm not getting any better at it. Of Serbia, who's lying there in second. And Elise, you're K2 500 metres is your current speciality at the moment. But have you done a lot of 1,000 metre racing at all? Yeah,
I think Alyssa and I both. We're probably more geared towards 1,000. We're certainly not 200 metre sprinters. So yeah, I have raced 1,000 a few times. At World Championships in 2013, I got second in the K2000 when I was quite young. So yeah, no, I think the 1,000's just all about keeping your head in your own boat and making sure you are hitting your own race plan, because if you go out too hard and you're not used to it, you're going to blow up at the end, or vice versa. You just got to stick to what you and your coach have decided.
And there are so many different race plans. You never really know what to expect. It's not going to be the person that leads out first that's necessarily going to take first place. Remember, 2 of these athletes will qualify places for their nation at the Olympic Games in Rio later this summer. And at the moment, Leonid Karp of Romania is looking extremely strong. Strahinja Malejic of Serbia also looking strong alongside him. Meanwhile, it's that youngster, 18-year-old Angel Kodinov of Bulgaria, who's stroking really nicely in lane 6. Looks like he's starting to put the power down as well, but it's also the Italian Carlo Ticini out in lane 2. The conditions seem kind of quite still. Is it? You think it's favouring anybody out there this afternoon?
Definitely not. It's quite even conditions this weekend so far, and I think the cold weather, it'll make it a little bit of a slower course, but everyone's in the same boat with that, and especially the Euros, they're all used to the chilly weather. Us Aussies aren't quite used to it yet, but no, I think you'll see everyone warm up through the race, and it'll be, coming into this last 250 here, everyone will put the pedal to the metal and push hard for that finish line. A lot's on the line for these boys, and they'll know it. So, yeah. Yeah,
you can see Carlo Ticini of Italy out in that outside lane, that far lane 2, really starting to push it on now. He's just overtaken Strahinja Told you I practiced it. This the Serbian in lane 3. So looking really, really strong from Carlo Ticini now, but as they come down towards the last 100 metres or so, Angel Kodanov of Bulgaria, the 18-year-old, is really starting to push up. Bronze medalist at the Junior Worlds last year in Portugal. They are into the last 100 now. They're lifting their stroke breaks. You can see Ticini out in the lane 2, really starting to power it. But it looks like Leonid Kab of Romania has got more in the tank still. You can see Angel Kodanov now of Bulgaria coming into view. He's lifting his stroke break. Can he put the pressure on Carlo Ticini out in lane 2? Has he got enough time left to get these 2 spots, one of these 2 spots for the Olympic Games? It's going to be close, but it's going to be Leonid Kab of Romania that takes first, ahead of Carlo Ticini of Italy in second. And it will be the Bulgarian Angel Kodanov of Bulgaria who takes third place, just missing out on a place in
and how good to see the 19-year-old from Romania, you know, just keeping a nice long stroke and not getting stressed out. There'd be a lot of big names around him, and yeah, to just keep a level head in that last 100 metres going for his Olympic spot. And you know, I'd assume in his Olympic debut, it's a testament to him, and I'd say he'll go quite well come Rio.
It was a confident race plan, wasn't it?
Definitely.
To be able to go out and do 1,000 metres like that. So yeah, Leonid Kab, 2014, he won gold in the C1, C2 and C4 at the Junior Europeans, and he's really stepping up now into the senior realms as well. So he's qualified spot for Romania at Rio, and also has Carlo Ticini of Italy. Fantastic race by him as well, just staying in contention with the Serbian paddler and powering through at the end.
That's it, yeah, definitely. And you know, to come through at the end, obviously he's the third place getter's just missed out, but you know, I don't know, is that over for him? It's not like Yvonne in the Chicks one?
No, I think that is over for him. Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, they will join Germany, Czech Republic, Moldova, Ukraine, Russia, Poland and Hungary in the Olympic Games. And it will be Sebastian Brendel of Germany who will be the one to watch in Rio, I would have thought, as the reigning Olympic, World, European and Olympic Games champion.
Definitely, he's done it all, hasn't he?
He's done it all and continues to do it all every year. Very, very consistent athlete. So there are the final results and the times as well. Leonid Kab of Romania, 3:58.288, a second and a little bit, 1.2 seconds ahead of Carlo Ticini of Italy in second. Angel Kodanov just beaten into third place. Diego Romero of Spain finishing in fourth. Matej Rusnak of Slovakia in fifth. Alexei Machnist of Belarus in sixth. So the next race on course will be the final of the men's K1 1,000 metres. And some interesting names to look out for in this one as well. Remember, 7 have already qualified from the World Championships last year, but still some big names to be looking out for. Roman Anoshkin out in lane 5. He's the Russian athlete. He qualified with the fastest time of 3:29.215. He won bronze in the K1 500 at the World Championships last year. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's got enough in the tank to do it over 1,000 metres and bag a place for Russia at the Olympic Games. And they're out and underway in this final of the men's K1 1,000 metres.
And they'll be taking it out really hard at the start. The men's K1's obviously a bit of a faster race than the C1000. So we've got lane 8 there, Marcus Waltz from Spain, really taking it out hard at the start. The Spanish are always known to really take it out at the start, and I assume their race plan is hope to hold on. But I think also you've got to watch out for lane 3, Ben Stomvari from Hungary. He was the world champion under 23 in 2014. Pipped my boyfriend, Jordan Wood. So that was a bit devastating, but he set a lightning fast time there.
Right, you'll get him back. You'll get him back.
Yeah. But he set a lightning fast time there, and you know, he had last season off, but I think he's come back and he's won the Hungo trials last weekend, and he's got a point to prove.
Well, that was a storming start from Marcus Waltz of Spain. He's just starting to ease off and tap it back now, but he really, you know, went out there to make his mark off that start for the first 250 metres. It's going to be really interesting to see exactly what his race plan is. Was he going out there to go out hard and hold on, or has he got a fast start and a fast finish? We'll have to see. But at the moment, it is, you know, really hard to pick between the bunch of them, to be honest, at the moment. It looks like Ole Kucharik of Ukraine that's out there looking strong. Alongside him, Roman Anoshkin of Russia, we mentioned a little earlier on. He's going well as well. And as Elise mentioned, Ben Stomvari 2014 under-23 world champion.
Yeah, so we're seeing lane 3, lane 5 and lane 6, really coming and pushing up to the front now. Yeah, the Spanish paddler Marcus has just lost his touch there, but I'm sure that's part of his race plan. So the boys going through the 500 metre mark now. They know they're halfway down and they might be hurting, but they know they've got to do it all over again now. So, you'll see them start to wind up for the finish now. And Bent's looking quite strong there. So is Roman Anoshkin from Russia. He's really pushing hard, and I think it might be a race in these two at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment it looks like Bent Stonvari is actually pushing up alongside Roman Anoshkin now. It looks like it's going to be between those two, but Oleg Kuharik of Ukraine still very, very much in contention as they sort of work their way towards the last 250. Looks like Kuharik's starting to lift it. He won bronze at the Junior World Championships last year, only 19 years old, so another youngster after we saw a great field of young paddlers in the C1000 earlier. Roman Anoshkin of Russia now starting to grit his teeth as they come towards the last 250. And it'll be interesting to see whether he can hang on, but at the moment it is those three boats with Clearwater, Donvari of Hungary and Anoshkin of Russia and Kuharik of Ukraine out in front. And they're coming towards the last 200 metres now. The pain that's going to be going through those muscles right now.
I think you get a bit of tunnel vision coming in through the last 200 metres. You can't see anything else but that finish line, so you can see Roman Anoshkin just pushing hard, gritting his teeth and hoping he can hold on to the end, and Ben's just putting in those long hard strokes, but he's being pushed by lane
lane 3 is just starting to drop back. It's going to be really interesting to see. You can see Roman Anoshkin of Russia, his arms just starting to get tired because he's going to make it.
Bence has just had a look. Here comes the Spanish again, lane 8. He's really pushing hard. Look at him coming home there. He might come over the top of him there. Let's get a wide shot view. Oh, it's going to be
Spanish.
Close.
Is it going to be Marcus Waltz that's going to do it after that fantastic start? I don't think he just makes it. I think it was Hungary ahead of Russia with Marcus Waltz of Spain in third. But that was an absolutely fantastic finish. A very gutsy race plan by Marcus Waltz, but what a great finish by Ben Stonvari, just staying in contention for the whole race and coming through at the end. Definitely,
you can see the pain on his face right now. He'd be ready to almost fall out of that boat, but the pain versus relief, I think, you'd just be absolutely stoked. And I'm not sure, but I'd assume that means he's booked his spot.
That does mean he's booked his spot. Yeah, he and Russia's Roman Anoshkin as well. I think Anoshkin was going to be probably kicking himself that he went out maybe slightly too hard, but he qualified his place anyway.
He got there in
nothing's
the end.
Nothing's lost.
That's what it's all about this weekend. The big games are in August in Rio, so this weekend's just about getting your name on the team, and then come Rio, I think it'll be a totally different ball game. Everyone will be up against each other.
It didn't quite work out for that Spanish athlete Marcus Waltz, who absolutely smashed it out of the blocks, smashed the last 100 metres, but still that's the exciting thing that spectators of the sport want to watch. Sometimes people say that 1,000 metre racing, perhaps it's not the best spectator sport, but that's the sort of thing you want to watch.
Yeah, I think probably nationally some 1,000 metre races can be a little bit boring, but once you get to the international stage, there's so little between all the boys and the different race plans. It's always exciting.
And when you look to the lineup that we're going to have in Rio next year, so Russia and Hungary, it may not be Bent Stonvari and Roman Anoshkin who are selected by their countries, but they'll be joining Danish paddlers probably like René Poulsen, Max Hoff of Germany, Murray Stewart from Australia.
Yep.
Such really, really strong paddlers. It's going to be so close, I think.
Definitely, yeah. And I think
look at that racing, so close.
And imagine that those two boys could have been three, joining the likes of what you just mentioned. Yeah, it's going to be a close final, and I think if you do make the final come Rio, hats off to you, and top 3 place getters, unbelievable.
And also worth mentioning as well that Arthur Peters, the Belgian, who was out in lane 2, similar to Yvonne Schuring in the women's race, if as Arthur Peters didn't finish in the top 2 here, he could actually still qualify on countback if Brazil qualify at the American qualifiers this weekend. So Bent Stonvari 3:35.307 the time. The winning time in the final of the men's K1 1000. 0.4 of a second behind was Roman Anoshkin of Russia, and just squeezing out Marcus Waltz of Spain. So next on course will be the final of the men's K2 200 metres, the fast and the furious, the fastest race that you'll see out on course this afternoon, and some exciting pairings to look out for, especially in lanes 4 and 5, I would say. The likes of Saul Craviotto, he was Olympic champion in K2 500 metres in Beijing and silver medalist in the K1 200 at London 2012. Now pairing up with Christian Toro to make that Spanish crew. They're going to be ones to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. I actually remember Christian from my junior worlds in 2009, so it's pretty cool to go through the ranks with people like that, and yeah, to be making our Olympic debuts potentially. That's pretty cool. But I think at the 200 metre men, you saw it at Worlds last year, it really comes down to nothing. So this race will be fast and furious, and these boys have a lot on the line, and I really don't think in a K2 200 you can pick a clear winner. Anything can happen on the day. One bad stroke and it's almost race over. So it's just about executing the perfect race plan and making sure you're ripping and gripping every single stroke. Every stroke counts. So.
Yeah, there's no room for error at all. In the Paralympic racing earlier, we had a race that was decided on a 1,000th of a second. So
yeah, that's it.
So the men's K2 200 metres are now lined up, ready to go. This is the final. This is going to be 30 or so seconds of racing, and it is going to be very, very quick indeed. Another crew to look out for there, the Polish crew in lane 2. Piotr Mata and David Puto, and they are underway, and difficult to see who's got the fastest start there, but very, very strong from the Spanish. Very impressive indeed. They're being pushed by the Italians in lane 6, but Spain at the moment are almost, you can see them move ahead with every single stroke.
That's it, yeah.
That's poetry.
Exactly, and it's a racing too by the looks of it, but yeah, the Spanish are just a boat length in front and really powering it home. They're gritting their teeth there, and awesome timing, awesome length of stroke, and they're going to take this out easily.
That is absolutely incredible racing from the Spanish, straight out of the blocks, and to be able to visually see with each stroke the boat accelerate away from the boats alongside them is amazing.
That's what you're looking for, and I don't think girls K2s look as good as that, but I hope we do one day.
We strive towards that.
It's
absolutely fantastic, and I think with a paddle like that in a event that can be so close, they're possibly going to be putting themselves in contention for the medals alongside, likes of Hungary, Russia, Serbia, France, the British pair as well, and Germany. That was a paddle that they're going to do themselves justice at the Olympic Games.
Exactly, and they're going to take a lot of confidence from this, and through the World Cup series, and there's still quite a few months to the Olympic Games, so a lot can happen in that time. But yeah, I think this for them would be a big confidence booster, and they'll go back to training and want to hit it even harder.
And it was the Belarusian pair of Dmitry Tratsiaku and Taras Valko who took the second place. And we'll just see that come over the line in a second. Oh, a little wobble for them on the start.
And that's almost a mistake that can cost you in a 200-metre race.
Yeah.
They got it together really nicely and really quickly, but they'd be kicking themselves over that.
You couldn't even see the bucket. They were stood still for so long after the bucket had gone down. But to be able to come back from that is fantastic.
But yeah, you can just see the Spanish powering it away. Every stroke, they're just pulling away from the rest of the field, and the rest of the field too. Absolutely unbelievable times and good racing from them. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these guys go come Rio.
Yeah, really, really exciting racing there. So. We'll correct myself because Belarus did not qualify. Only one boat qualifies in the pairs, so I will correct myself that Belarus did not manage to qualify, unfortunately. I think it was their start that really scuppered it, but Spain were definitely deserving winners and deserving qualifiers as well for Rio 2016. So there you have it. Nearly a second, winning by nearly a second over 200 metres is incredible.
That's massive.
32.040, the winning time for Toro and Craviotto of Spain. And Falco and Tratsiaku of Belarus coming in second, despite that dodgy start.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations to the Spanish pair there. So once again, it's just the first boat that will qualify in the final of the women's K2 500 metres. And this will be another. This is your event.
This is, yeah. We'll be watching.
So of those names, who would you sort of? I'm not asking you to put money on it, but who would you fancy in this race?
I think the Austrians. They've had a really good showing the last couple of seasons, and I'm quite good friends with Anna, so I've seen and heard that they've been training quite well. But I'd really like to see the Belgian pair come through. It'd be really good to see some Belgian paddlers on the Olympic teams, but I think you really can't write off the British pair and the Swedish pair. I think it'll come down to a really close race.
Yeah, I think that British pair of Belcher and Hannah, wanting to do a little bit better than they did in the heat the other day when they finished third. They'll definitely be looking for a better performance there, and I think they're definitely capable of that as well. So you mentioned Anna Roxana Lahatchi and Victoria Schwartz. They'll be out in lane 4. They qualified as the winners of heat 2. That's Lani Belcher and Angela Hanna of Great Britain you're seeing just there. They won gold in the K2 200 metres here in Duisburg at the World Cup last year, where Lani also won the 5K.
Yeah, so you'll see them get out to a really fast start. But I think in the K2 race, and I think Alyssa and I found this, racing nationally against Naomi Flood and Jo Britton Jones, I think the middle section of a K2 race is really important in the girls. If you can get that right middle running speed, the rest will come together. So, I think whoever's out in front come the last 200, 150 metres, it'll be interesting to see if they can be topped.
There in lane 6 is the Spanish pair of Sara Uzandi and Isabel Contreras. Sara Uzandi, only 19 years old, a medalist in the K1 and K2 at junior and under 23 level, and now stepping up to the senior stage and hoping to bag a place at Rio 2016. Out in lane 3, really promising Portuguese pair, Beatriz Gomes and Helena Rodriguez, and alongside that Austrian pair that Elise Burnett was just speaking about. Victoria Schwartz there in the back. She was a world champion in 2011 paddling with Yvonne Schuring, and those girls still hold the world's best time of 1:37.071. So that's the target for Rio. There you go.
Lightning fast.
Yeah, they set that in Szeged back in 2011.
And you'll see the Swedes on screen there. They've actually got an Australian coach, Marty Hunter, so we're quietly barracking for them. And those girls are quite big and strong, so I think come the last 200 metres they'll be really powering at home.
So just lining up in the buckets now.
The nerves definitely get the better of you when you're lining up in the buckets, but as soon as you take that first stroke, you know exactly what to do.
Yeah, these girls know they have to win this race to get a place in the Olympic Games, and they're underway, and it's a very, very strong start indeed from the Spanish pair. Looking really good out in lane 6. That's Sara Uzandi and Isabel Contreras. They absolutely burst out of the block. She mentioned earlier we saw the men's K1000. The Spanish do have a great start. It's all about whether or not they can hang on to it. And also looking strong is Anna Roxana Lahatchi and Victoria Schwartz of Austria. So really putting the power down, that Spanish pair.
The little pocket rockets, I'd say, those two.
Yeah. Also still in contention is the Belarusian pair out in lane 2. Alongside them in lane 3 is Portugal.
The Swedish pair on the inside
here. They're still very much hanging on there, aren't they? Keeping
Definitely
in contention and actually closing that gap as we look at it. Coming up to the 250 metre mark now is the Austrians, who just edge into the lead ahead of the Spanish. And they're going to be kind of eyeballing each other out the corner of their eyes. So what's the feeling like now with 200 metres left to go? You've done 300 metres of the 500.
It's not over until it's over. I think you'll see the girls lift in the last 100 metres, and it'll be, tunnel visions and holding on.
And they have lifted, and here are the Swedes coming through.
Yeah.
Have they got enough to be able to come through and take the one place from Austria?
So here they come. They're paddling really well, actually, really long and really strong.
Yeah, very smooth.
They're coming back on the Austrians. The Austrians just holding on at the moment with 100 to go. Can the Swedes get there? The Austrians, Anna's just really trying to lengthen out and let Vicky do the work at the back, and it's going to come down to the wire.
That Swedish pair of Johansson and Padanius looking very, very strong indeed over the last. This is going to come right down to the wire. It's Sweden that have, I think, just popped into the lead, and I'm not sure who got that at all.
I don't want to
It was either Austria or Sweden ahead of the Belgians.
And heartbreak for the one who got second.
Yeah. And it looks like Austria think they've got it, but they've been given second, but they don't quite. I don't think they know who is out there on the outside.
No, definitely that was a tough call, and they'll have to wait till they get back in. It'll be heart-wrenching for them if they do get second when the official results come out. And look, they're just looking around trying to find anyone to give them the thumbs up or the thumbs down. The Swedes just keeping their... Oh!
They're just asking what happened. So that's Karin Johansson and Sofia Paldanius. And they have been given first place, have the Swedes. This will be Sofia Paldanius' 4th Olympic Games if she's selected to take up that Swedish spot that they've just qualified.
And they've taken it. Oh.
They've got it, yeah, fantastic. And what a finish, just absolutely blinding racing. And that's going to be hundredths of a second, if that.
That's what you call a photo finish.
That's what you call a photo finish. That's why every single... anything you can do to improve your time, to improve your preparation counts at this level.
That's all right. We always talk about it, but it's the 1%ers that make the difference. And yeah, well, look, they're looking quite emotional. They're the Swedes, and bad luck to the Brits as well in screen there. You know, they've had a good season and obviously a tough finish, but they'll come back stronger.
Fantastic. So there you are. 600ths of a second between the Swedes in first place, who take that Olympic spot, Olympic qualification berth, ahead of the Austrians in second. It was Belcher and Hannah who took third for Great Britain. It'll be disappointment for them as they miss out. Still a chance for Angela Hannah to qualify a place for Great Britain later on, though. She's going in the K1 200 metres as well. So next up we have the final of the men's K2 1000 metres. And that'll be going in around about 5 minutes' time. Now Australia have already been through your sort of Oceania Olympic qualification. That's happened. Who were the main winners and losers in that one?
The boys had already qualified, you know, their 6 quota spots for the games, or 7 quota spots for the games, and they picked up another one in the K1 200 with Steve Bird. So the boys are looking really good come Rio. This World Cup series, I'll just be trying to figure out some boats and who's going to race what. But Steve will definitely be racing the K1 200, and yeah, who knows what will happen with the 1,000-metre men. And us girls, we didn't actually qualify any spots last year, so yeah, we had to come down to the Oceania Championships, and Alyssa and I secured the K2 win at Oceania Championships, and then went on to secure 2 wins in the both selection trials. So we're on the team for the K2, and this weekend you'll actually see a race off between Naomi Flood and Jo Bridget-Jones, who are actually our rivals in the K2, and you know, now they've got to go up against each other. So Jo will be racing the K1 200 and Floody in the K1 500, and the person with the highest international rank will get the spot for Rio.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of different stories going on, and I'm sure a lot of countries have different selections going on throughout the World Cups.
They were K2 partners, and now they're up against each other.
Yeah,
so there you go.
It's a tough situation for them and for everyone involved, but you know, they're great athletes, and a testament to both of them. You know, they both deserve to be there, but that's the Olympic Games, I suppose. And yeah, it's going to be tensions high, but you know, come Rio, we'll have the best paddler there.
Yeah. Well, it is K2 that's out on course at the moment. Just lining up and coming into the blocks is the final of the men's K2 1000 metres. And you can just see there on the screen is the Great Britain pair of Matt Bowley and Ed Rutherford. Ed Rutherford made C-final with John Boyton at the World Championships last year. And they're going for their second chance of qualifying here this afternoon in Duisburg. Out there in lane 7, that's the Italian pairing of Nicola Ripamonti and Giulio Drestino, 8th at the World Championships last year, so just missing out. They finished 5th at the European Games in Baku as well, so a really strong pair.
You got Bence in the Hungarian boat backing up again with Tibor. So Bence is, you know, just taken out the K1000, and he's backing up straight in the K2, so hats off to him, and hopefully he can get his teammate on the team as well.
Yeah, and out there you can just see on the screen in lane 5 alongside the Hungarian pair is Pavel Shandrak and Mariusz Kujawski. Shandrak was the under-23 European champion in the K2000 in 2012 and 2013, really stepping up now to put the pressure on the seniors here in the Olympic qualifiers. They were the winners of the first heat, but it is those Hungarians who are the fastest qualifiers, just seeing them there in lane 4. Tibor Hufnagel and Ben Stonvari, they qualified in a time of 3 minutes 10.105. There's the Czech pair, Jakub Zavrel and Jakub Spitzer in lane 3. Silver medalists at the under-23 World Championships in Portugal last year, still just 20 and 22 years old. And the really interesting thing about this second round of qualification is a lot of the senior athletes went and qualified boats at the World Championships last year. Now it's a real opportunity for the youngsters to step up and get those second opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, with a year under their belt since the World Championships last year, or just less than a year, I suppose it's kind of almost what happened with Alyssa and I. You know, we were at Worlds last year, and you know, the Olympic rings were dangled in front of us this season, and we just pushed as hard as we could to try and get our names on that team and you know, get in front of the senior paddlers. So I think, yeah, it'll be really good to see what happens in this K2 and throughout, you know, this selection process.
So we have the men's K2 1,000 metres now in the blocks, and they're underway. And a good start by the Italians, and a good start by the British in this near side lane 9 as well. Just one boat, remember, will qualify for the Olympic Games. Will qualify one spot. The Italians did get away quickly, but it's the Spanish alongside them who are starting to put the pressure on at the moment. It's Italy's Ripamonti and Dracino coming up against Campo and Milan of Spain. And those two have put the gauntlet down to the rest of the field.
Yeah, and so now they'll just have finished their start, and they'll be settling into their race plan, their middle race plan now. So you can see the stroke rates have just dropped a bit with the Italians and the Spanish, and actually lane 4 is just coming up there with the Hungarians, Benson Tibor. So Benz will be, you know, he'll know exactly how to race this after racing the K1 not long ago, and you know, he'll have his eyes on the prize and be pushing hard there. So the Hungarians just looking like they're edging out the Spanish and the Italians to take the lead there, and the Spanish will probably see them in the corner of their eye and try and keep up with them and try and, you know, push hard towards that 500, 250 and the finish.
It's just gorgeous, gorgeous conditions out there. It's like a mirror, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. We've got some split times now. That's fantastic. So they've just come through. Said the Spanish were in the lead coming through that. I'm not sure they were. I think it was the Hungarians. But yeah, the Hungarians now with a boat length lead and just very relaxed, very neat technique indeed, looking, you know, really using the rotation.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what it's about. Like I said earlier in the piece, you know, it's all about making sure you get that middle running speed perfect and making sure you can rip and grip that water, and you don't want to rush it, but you don't want to go too slow. And yeah, the Hungarians are really coming home with it. The Spanish, though, still in touch, as with the Italians, and lane 2 as well, the Ukraine paddlers there.
So just one boat will qualify. They're coming up towards the last sort of 300 metres left to go, and it is clear water for Tibor Hufnagel and Ben Stamvari of Hungary. Out there in lane 4 in that white boat. Hufnagel was under 23 world champion in the K2 1000 in 2013 and 2014.
But don't write off the other paddlers yet. The Ukraine pair is just coming up on that outside there, and the Spanish pair are holding on nicely. The Ukraines, by the looks of it, are going to have quite a good finish on them, so it's going to come right down to the wire.
It is going to be really, really interesting to see who is going to finish this stronger. They've got 200 metres left to go.
And you just see their stroke rate lift a little bit there. They'll be hurting. They'll be in the hurt locker, but you know, they'll want to hold on as much as they can to try and get that win.
The Ukrainians are really, really pushing up there now. You can see
just have
that lead paddler, Oleg Kaharek, just take a look over his shoulder, and it is the Ukrainians now who've taken the lead, and they are going to be pushing out to this over this last 100 metres. Who is going to take this? At the moment, I believe it's with Ukraine. There's 50 metres left to go, but the Hungarians now are actually coming back. The Hungarians are coming back, and they let the lead slip, but they take first place. Hungary will bag that spot at the Olympic Games. Congratulations to Hungary. They were very closely followed by Ukraine, with the Polish crew, they look like, in third. So that was a nail-biter of a finish.
That was a nail-biter. It almost looked like they were doing a 200-metre sprint come the end there. They should race the 200-metre boys, you know, but when there's a lot on the line, you'll hurt your body as much as you can to get there, and you can tell by the boys they're hurting a lot.
It was a very gutsy move by the Ukrainians to start pushing that through, and so tough to not be able to hold on to it. But
definitely. But as you know, as gut-wrenching as it would be to get that second place and just miss out, I think they should be very happy with the way that they raced.
Yeah, definitely. And Oleg Kaharek, still only 19 years old, raced the K1000 earlier, and a great finish from those two crews. So Hungary will join Germany, Australia, Serbia and France. Just 4 boats qualifying from the World Championships last year, because 2 also qualified in the K4, so those spots were handed back. And they'll probably be, so Hoefenagel and Donvari, if they are selected by their federation, will be coming up against your Australian teammates Kenny Wallace and Lucky Tame. They'll be ones to beat. But we just got the times of that final: 3:13.223, the winning time for the Hungarian pair, 0.3 of a second ahead of the Ukrainians Oleg Kaharik and Vitaly Churkan. And that was absolutely fantastic race. So would you, as I mentioned, Kenny Wallace, Lucky Tame, they're going to be going for medals, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. You know, they've medalled the last 2 World Championships, and you know they've got their eye on that gold medal, and I think they fully deserve it. They've been training hard at home, and all the 1,000-metre boys at home have really been pushing each other and taking it all to a next level. So I can't wait to see the Aussies race.
So more pairs racing now with the final of the men's C2 1,000 metres. And out there in lane 8 is Turkey. The crew we're just looking at now is Mikola Matvichuk and Adnan Ali, Turkish pair.
And Adnan actually went to train in Bulgaria for a couple of years ago, and he was there paddling as well. So he's been around for quite a long time, and you know he'll be looking to push for another Olympics.
Also out there, I think probably one of the favourites might be out in lane 5. At the moment, looking at lane 6 though. That's Romania, Leonid Karp and Stefan Andre Strat. We saw Leonid Karp, that really classy race just a few moments ago in the C1000, winning that very nicely. So he's going again now in the C2000 and out in lane 5. Possibly the favourites for this one, the German pair of Peter Kretschmer and Michael Muller. Peter Kretschmer won gold at London 2012. He was paddling then with Kurt Kuschella, and now got a different partner for this one. See if they can get themselves a spot at London at Rio 2016.
So they'll be looking, you know, they've got their home crowd behind them, and obviously they've paddled on this course quite a few times, so they'll be using their home advantage, and hopefully the crowd goes wild for them.
So just coming up into the buckets now. That's the Latvians out in lane 2, Avis Tints and Gatis Pranks. This is a straight final. There was no elimination rounds earlier this week, but just one boat will qualify.
It's always nice to have a heat to go through as well, I think. Blow the cobwebs out, but here they go, and lane 7 really taking it out at the start. So lane 7,
that's the Moldovans, that is, out in lane 7. It was a very, very strong start from them. They are still in the lead. They just have the lead over the German pair in the green and black boats. Really, really powering out of that start are the Moldovan pair. It'll be really, really interesting to see whether they can keep that up, because that is a good stroke rate and a lot of power by them. And
yeah, definitely. And the Germans, I think, will be looking to use a bit of their experience. You know, Olympic gold medalist, one of them an Olympic gold medalist from London. So, you know, he'll be looking to use this experience come the finish. It's a high pressure situation, so anything can happen.
The Germans do just seem, and it's difficult for me to say because I've never been a C1 or C2 paddler, but they do just seem more in control with their stroke rate. They seem to be making more with each stroke, a bit more efficient, I think.
Yeah, you almost, in 1,000 metre, you almost want to be able to, you know, not fully relax, but relax a bit with your stroke and really get into a nice rhythm. And I think that really pays dividends come the end, and come the last 200 metres, it means you can put a little bit more effort into that last 200.
But it is still the Moldovan pair of Oleg Tornovsky and Olev Nuta who just have the lead over Germany. Also going well are 3 crews in behind them. That looks like Leonid Karp and Stefan Andre Strat of Romania. Also out there is Luca Inkelingo and Daniele Santini of Italy. But just one boat will qualify, and there's plenty of time left. They're not even at the 500 metre mark. This could go any way, because this is looking like a very close race, actually.
Definitely, and we saw it in the K2 men's 1,000 earlier. You know, the Hungarians were right out in front, and they almost got caught at the end, and this race is a lot closer, so anything can happen. But the Moldovans just really putting on a show here, still going long and strong and keeping that power on. You know, you can see they're hurting, but that doesn't matter. You only have to hurt once today, so...
That's true. So the 500 metre split, 1:46.27. Half a second behind are the German pair. So something in me just says that these Germans have got a little bit more to give. The Moldovans of Oleg Tarnowski and Oleg Nuta. Tarnowski won silver in the C1 500 at the World Championships last year. So he is a powerful athlete, but now
here come the Czech paddlers.
Out on the outside, it is the Czech Republic who are powering past Germany, putting the, intimidating the Germans a little bit, and definitely starting to close that gap out the front. That's Jaroslav Radon and Filip Dvorak in lane 4 in that blue boat. So they're coming towards the 200 metre mark, and this is going to go right down to the wire. At the moment, it's between the Czech Republic and Moldova, and Germany is still there.
Germany are still there, but the Moldovans are just look like they're holding on, and that's all you have to do. You only have to hold on by a tiny little bit, but the Czech paddlers are really powering home, and here come the Romanians as well. They're pushing up past the Germans, so it's a race in 3.
100 metres to go. The Germans are dropping back. The Romanians are paddling up the middle. Moldova are keeping strong, so are the Czech Republic out on the outside. One boat will qualify. Moldova are dropping back now. At the moment, it's Czech Republic and Romania who are out the front.
I think
Romania have just sneaked into the lead. And it will come down to the lunge. They're approaching the finishing line. And it was Romania who have come through to take first place and qualify their boat for Rio 2016 ahead of the Czech Republic, and then Moldova just didn't quite have enough, and neither did the Germans, and I must say that surprises me, but kudos to the Romanians. A completely different race plan to what we saw Leonid Karp have in the C1000, but that was just perfect timing.
That's it, and the Romanians weren't in the screen till the last 150, so it just shows the race isn't over until it's over, and or until the fat lady sings, as the saying goes. So those Romanians really pushing hard towards the end, and that's when everyone's stinging the most. So if you can, find those 1%ers in that last 200 metres, you'll be in for a good showing.
And there you have it, really, really close finish, but it was the Romanians that edged out the Czech Republic. And to me, I'm quite surprised to see, the likes of Jaroslav Radon, 5th at London 2012, being edged out that Czech paddler that's just in the front of that C2. Also a surprise to see people like Petr Krečmer, reigning Olympic champion being edged out.
Yeah, it's amazing what can happen in an Olympic year. Hey, you think you know what's going to happen, but things can change at the last minute, and it's devastating for those athletes. But I suppose that's sport, and that's the Olympic Games, and I think everyone here knows that.
So it will be Romania who join Brazil, Hungary, Poland, Ukraine, Russia and Belarus in qualifying for Rio 2016. And there will be some countback going on because Leonid Karp did qualify a spot in the C1000 metres as well as the C2000. So that will be counted back, and there will be more places, another place up for grabs for somebody else. Someone else will benefit from that. So that's exciting. So interesting to see those times, how close that finish was. I mean, it was visible, but it will be interesting to see it. And here's that start again, and those Romanians just powering out of there.
What I always find interesting, obviously I'm not a seaboat paddler either, but the amount of distance seaboats can make up in just one stroke. The way that they are able to lunge the boat, and off the start, you saw half a boat length in one stroke. So it's amazing how they can take over that quickly, but also they can lose it that quickly as well. So
I've definitely seen races lost on a lunge, and I've seen them won on a lunge as well at the finish line.
Yeah.
I think the Romanians are lucky there that it was just a powerful finish that did it for them. Obviously, you're a K-boat paddler. Have you ever had a go in a C1 yourself?
I have. Just hopped in it at training one day and went round and round in circles, couldn't figure out how to go straight, and fell in and lost my brand new Oakleys.
Oh no.
I won't be trying that again. I'll leave it to the ones that actually know how to do it properly, but we've got a few girls starting to paddle in Australia now in the sea boats. A couple of the girls have swapped over from K-boats to sea boats, so I'm looking forward to seeing some girls internationally someday soon for Australia.
Yeah, the standard does seem to be lifting for women's seaboat racing because it's going to be in the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2020. I'm hoping that the standard will rise. We'll see full finals. We'll see competitive finals.
Yeah.
And like we saw in the Paralympic racing earlier, it will be a good show, a good spectacle for our sport as well.
Definitely. And watching the para racing earlier, how exciting was that? We had the Aussies para canoeists actually do a lot better than the able-bodied kayakers. So, I'm excited to watch the Paralympics come Rio.
So we spoke a minute ago about your Oceania qualification, got that spot for Rio in the K2 with Alyssa Bull. How are you feeling now between now and Rio? What's the plan for you? What's the schedule? How's the training looking, that sort of thing?
So I suppose after we got the spot, that was actually back in March for us. So our selections are over and done with quite early, and we went back to a bit of a base training block, so back to a few long Ks, and have come over here on Monday. So still feeling the effects of jet lag a little bit, but we're actually doing all right. But yeah, just looking to have a good showing here. Obviously, we're not 100% race ready, and go home with a few things to work on come Rio. So yeah, we're really excited. It's both of our debuts, and we couldn't be happier. We're we're not very serious, the both of us. I mean, we're serious come water, but we're just having fun with it, and we absolutely love kayaking and love training, love racing, and yeah, I think. When we do get on the start line, we won't let anyone in front of us, hopefully. But yeah, we're just enjoying every moment of it.
That's the best way to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Managing to enjoy it, even though there's pressure and expectation, but be able to enjoy your sport is fantastic.
I think so, yeah.
Well, next race on course is the final of the men's K1 200 metres. More fast and furious racing after we saw the K2 200 a little earlier on, and that's out there in lane 3. That'll be Bence Horvath of Hungary, the current world champion in the under-23 K2 200 metres. So a really powerful, strong athlete. And there's the current Olympic champion, Ed McKeever of Great Britain, in lane 2. A real surprise to see Ed McKeever here, second round of qualification, missing out in the first round.
Yeah, it's definitely devastating for him, but obviously he would have got past that now and had his eyes on the prize for this weekend. To get those top 2 spots, but yeah, it is a tough situation to be in, and for all of these boys, I think my money is on Bence from Hungary. I watched him in the earlier rounds, and he was looking really good, but yeah, 200's come down to the wire, so you just never know.
And that's the fastest qualifier in this final, Saul Cravioto of Spain, out there in lane 5. He won Heat 1 with a time of 34.253 seconds. Alongside him in lane 6 will be Max Lemke, just 19 years old. He won Heat 3.
It'd be good to see him go well as well. He's actually been in Adelaide in Australia for a few years now in his off-season, so, a bit of an Aussie at heart. It would be good to see him have a good showing.
And then we have in lane 8 Niklas Vatanen of Finland. And in lane 9 Tom Brennan of Ireland as well.
And isn't it funny looking at these 200-metre paddlers, the body, the body makeup compared to the 1,000-metre paddlers are totally different. These guys are just pure muscle.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw that. Like I mentioned the Paralympic, the para canoe athletes earlier. They are pure muscle because a lot of them only use their upper body.
Yeah.
And they are absolute units. Really, really, really strong. Probably put some of these guys to shame, to be honest.
Definitely, yes.
So yeah, you were talking about, they're just lining up now. We're about a minute away from the start. Ed McKeever there, just
playing with his shirt.
I think he's cleaning his sunglasses. You've got to get everything just right, but no water droplets on your sunglasses and that sort of thing. But Ed at the moment is kind of under pressure in his own squads. Liam Heath, who paddles the K2, is going extremely well in his K1 as well. So it'll be really interesting to see how they battle it out. I think for the K1 spot when it does come to Rio. Yeah,
I've heard if Ed gets a spot this weekend, they'll be having a bit of a race off next weekend at World Cup too. So yeah, it's not over for Ed after this, but he's a class athlete and you can't put it past him. Current Olympic champion.
So we've got a bit of a problem with the start system at the moment, and that's why they're being held. We're supposed to be underway now, but the start buckets aren't up and ready. We've just come down from the 1,000-metre mark, and it looks like they've got some problems. So the athletes are back paddling.
You'll notice these boys will now do a bit of a loop. You don't want to sit there, still. You want to keep warmed up, and especially because here it is a little bit chilly. The sun has come out for a little bit, but the boys will just keep moving until these start gates figured out.
We've got a little bit of what looks like a tiny little bit of a headwind at the moment. It looks quite even. Is that kind of normal for this regatta course? Have you got a lot of experience of racing here?
Yeah, I've raced here quite a few times, and to be honest, I've never seen it super windy here. You know, it's either a slight puff of head or a slight puff of tail. It's always quite fair. So, yeah, very fair conditions and fair racing, and I think the perfect course to have these Olympic qualifiers in.
So we should have the results of the men's C2 1,000 metres up on our screens, the final results. And it was the Romanian pair of Leonid Karp and Stefan Andrei Strat who took first place. And that Olympic qualification spot. Fantastic race by them. We have seen the buckets pop up and pop back down again at the 200 metre mark, so I guess they're just testing them, making sure they're working while the athletes have a little paddle around, keep warmed up. The sun is starting to come out here at Duisburg now.
Couldn't be happier that the sun's coming out.
What sort of temperature is it in Australia at the moment?
Not like this. We're coming into winter, and before we left Australia we had one cold morning, and I think that was probably about 12 degrees, and we had thermals out. So yeah, this is a bit of a shock arriving here, and I've actually got my ski jacket on. So I'm definitely not used to this.
Must admit, even I was cold, and I come from England.
Oh, that's
so
good.
It is chilly.
That's good to know. So yeah, the boys have just, you know, they're paddling down towards the 500 metre mark. Like I said, just trying to keep warm, trying to keep those muscles firing, especially for the 200 metre races. You know, there's not a lot of time to warm up in the race. You know, 34 seconds, 35 seconds. So the start system looks like it's up now.
So I mean, you can see some of them actually doing efforts out there. Was that something that you'd recommend?
Yeah, before our K2 race, actually at our final selection, we were delayed 15 minutes because of the same problem. So yeah, we had to paddle around, and you know, you don't want to redo your whole warm up, but you do want to keep firing. So you just do 10 doubles here and there, and until you know that the start system is ready. And once it is ready, they'll give you a couple of minutes warning anyway, so you'll have plenty of time to recover from your effort.
So is the plan for you to go to the World Cup in Rachicha next week and Portugal, or just one?
Yeah, we're just doing this weekend. Yeah, next weekend in Rachicha, and then heading back home to Australia. So we'll be heading home to winter, but I don't think it'll be as cold as here. We live on the Gold Coast, so it is what it sounds like, and it's very nice there come winter. And we'll be coming back over here into Italy on the 10th of July before Rio. So yeah, it's a big build-up, but we're really excited.
Am I right in thinking you were under 23 last year, weren't
Yes.
you? Are you still under 23 or no longer?
No, I'm over the hump.
Okay.
I'm old now, but Alyssa's still under 23. She's 20 years old, so yeah, we're quite a young crew, I suppose. Well, I'm not under 23 anymore, but yeah, we're quite a young crew, I suppose, and yeah, our Olympic debut, and hopefully we can go on further from this.
How long have you been together as a crew?
We started together January last year. And I was actually sitting in the front of the boat then. We raced the national championships, got our spot on the team last year, and then swapped places. Raced the under-23 world champs last year and got third, and then onto the senior worlds. And yeah, just stuck together, and I think, you know, that's the beauty between us. We made a bit of a pact and we stuck together, and I think it's worked out.
Well, it does look like the final of the men's K1 200 metres is being called up onto the start line again now, after we had a few problems with the start buckets. So that's going to kind of shuffle the schedule up a little bit. We're going to congest the schedule up a little bit over the next few minutes, but hopefully get this K1 200 metres men's final underway. Top 2 boats will qualify for Rio 2016. They'll qualify nation spots as opposed to the athletes' own named spots. And they're under the starters' orders. Looks like a fantastic start from the Italian, actually, in lane 7. That's Manfredi Riza.
Woo! You throw a blanket over the field.
Strong. Yeah, it's going to be a very, very close race indeed. And it looks like out in lane, very difficult to see.
It looks like lane 3, maybe Benz is just pushing in front, and then you've got the Spanish in the middle. He's pushing out, but don't discount the Italian in lane 7 here, but it's lane 5, the Spaniard.
It's Spain who's leading it out. Spain's leading it out, and I've got no idea who took second between Hungary and Italy. But a fantastic finish from Saul Craviotto. And there'll be one more place up for grabs. Will it be Bence Horvath of Hungary, or will it be Manfredi Riese of Italy, who burst out of those blocks? But
hats off to the Spanish guys, though. They took out the K2 200 and now the K1 200. So, they'll have a good showing in Rio. And
so Saul Craviotto was part of that men's K2 200 metres that absolutely smashed the rest of the field out of the park in the final earlier to qualify the K2. He's now finished first in the K1 200 metres as well, with another very classy paddle and a lovely lunge at the end there, which I don't think he needed to do because he already had a couple of feet lead, but you can't be too careful.
But as a 200 metre paddler, you do practice your lunges, so you want to use it. I wish I could do that.
I must admit, I've always thought it made me slower when I've tried that.
Yeah.
So. Saul Craviotto there, winning the men's K1 200 metres. He won silver at London 2012. And there we have it. Bence Horvath of Hungary taking that second spot, 1/100th of a second ahead of the Italian Manfredi Riese.
And then Bakiva, the current Olympic champion, just finishing in 5th there. So bit of heartbreak for him.
So he will miss out, and it'll be very hard for him, nigh on impossible, to find himself at Rio now with Johnny Schofield and Liam Heath going so well in that K2. I can't see that changing at all. And we're moving very swiftly on, I think, to the start of the men's C1 200 metres final. And top 2 qualify once again. Fastest qualifiers out there is lane 5, but at the moment we're looking, is lane 4, sorry. At the moment we're looking at Stefan Kirai from Germany. And there is that fastest qualifier, Alfonso Benavides of Spain. You just saw Craviotto take out the men's K1 200 metres. We've seen some really fast paddling, even over the longer distances. The Spanish have impressed us in their power. That's Thomas Simart of France out in lane 2, silver medalist at the World Championships all the way back in 2010. Oleg Tarnovsky out in lane 1, also raced the C2 1000 metres just a moment ago.
It's interesting to see that he's raced
qualification then.
Interesting to see that he's raced the 1000 and the 200 metre. It's quite a different event. So,
yeah.
Hats off to him for making this final.
That's Zaza Nadiradze of Georgia, who's in lane 6. 4th at the Under-23 World Championships last year. Won a bronze medal in 2014. Lane 8, Lubomir Hagara, winner of the semi-final yesterday. And that's Poland's Mikhail Marek Lubniewski of Poland. They're all in their buckets waiting to go. So 2 qualify in this men's C1 200 metres. And they're underway. And it looks like a big start from Spain once again. Big stroke rate from Alfonso Benavides, but also going really nicely is Lubomir Hagara of Slovakia out in lane 8.
But it's the Spanish that's really coming up there, and lane 2 as well. The French paddler there, as well as lane 8. Well, poor, you could throw a blanket over 2 to 9.
And Zaza Nadiradze of Georgia as well is there in lane 6. This is going to go right down to the wire. At the moment it is Georgia behind Alfonso Benavides of Spain. How this is going to finish? It will be Alfonso Benavides of Spain who takes first. I believe it looked like Nadiradze of Georgia that took second, but that's going to have to go to the officials, I'm very sure.
And like we were talking before, the Seaboat, it comes down to that lunge, isn't it?
And that, I think that's given people a taste of what they can expect at Rio 2016 next year.
That's funny.
Next year,
yeah.
Later this year.
Yeah, definitely.
There we go. So Zaza Nadiradze has been given second.
What an awesome paddle from him.
That was,
the Spanish paddler
was fantastic. He knew what he had to do.
Yeah, sucking in the big ones there, trying to get his breath back. But it's all right, he's qualified his spot, so it doesn't matter.
So there you have it, 39.245, the winning time for Alfonso Benavides of Spain. And 0.76 seconds behind was Zaza Nadiradze of Georgia in second. Thomas Simart of France just missing out. He was pipped into 3rd place. So an absolutely brilliant, thrilling race there. They will, Spain and Georgia now booking their places. What power, you can already see straight out of the blocks he had a lead and just kept the stroke rate up every step of the way, and just so very, very close between Georgia and France there.
I'm always very impressed with the seaboat paddlers. Like I said, I don't know how they actually stay in the boat, let alone push it that fast. So yeah, the power and the technique, absolutely unbelievable, and that'll be a very close race come Rio.
So it will be Spain and Georgia that join Belarus, China, Russia, Lithuania, Azerbaijan, Hungary and Portugal. And we're now moving on to what I believe is the final race of the afternoon for these finals. And the women's K1 200-metre final. Again, 2 spots available. And again, I'm expecting this to be a close one.
Definitely. I think, you can't... Yvonne Turing from Austria, she's just missed out on the qualification in the K1 500 earlier today, so she'll have a point to prove coming out here. But, you've got some awesome paddlers. You've got Portugal, Francesca, silver at the Under-23 Worlds. Martina from Slovakia, she raced the K2 500 at London, but she's also just taken out a spot earlier today. And wow, Leanna Stencils, finalist at the European Champs in Baku 2015. She'll be one to watch, and she's had a good off-season of training.
So they're in the buckets already. 2 spots available in this final of the women's K1 200 metres. All that's also in there is Angela Hanna of Great Britain. Just looking there at Sabine Volz of Germany. And that young paddler, Linnea Stencils, really impressed last year. It looked like a very slow start for Angela Hanna, who's already dropped back half a boat length for the Great Britain. But a great start for Sabine Volz, paddling on home waters out there in lane 5.
And then we've got Leanna there from Sweden. She's really powering at home, the youngster from Sweden. And then you've got lane 3 as well. You've got Francesca from Portugal. But it's still the German Sabine in front, and Leanna just coming in close to her, but it's going to be...
So 50 left to go. Sabine Volz is slowing, it looks like. So is Linnea Stencils. They've used up all their power. Who's going to take it? It will be Sweden and Germany who take the 2 spots, but I've got no idea what order that was in. But a fantastic paddle from both of theirs. And Linnea Stencils never fails to impress me. Last year she had a fantastically consistent year across the World Cups, across the Under-23s, across the European Games as well. And she's done a grand job pushing Sabine Volz right to the last wire and possibly even taking first.
And so she'll be joining her K2 mates. The Swedish team just won the K2 500 earlier, so she'll be joining them. So they'll have a team of 3. So unbelievable day for Sweden, and they'll be stoked.
I think in 3rd place was either Francesca Laia of Portugal or Martina Kolova of Slovakia. But no doubt who's going to take those final 2 places in Europe for Rio 2016. Sabine Volz was given 1st place for Germany. Interesting to see those times as well.
Yeah, definitely. And Leanna, I saw her give a wave to everyone just before, and I think the Swedish team on the banks are very excited and just having a bit of a cough there. It's pretty funny. At 200 metre, it's less than half our 500 metre race distance, but it still hurts just as much.
So what, from the racing that you've seen this afternoon, is there any particular, I'll just go run through that. Sabine Volz 41.470, 300ths of a second behind Linnea Stencils of Sweden, just edging out Martina Kolova of Slovakia and Francesca Laia of Portugal. Juliana Taran of Romania picked into 5th, Yvonne Schuring of Austria in 6th, Jenny Egan of Ireland in 7th. Is there a particular performance that stood out for you today?
Well, I think Bent's in the K1000 in the men's, he's really had a good showing, but I think the K1 500 women's would definitely have to be my favourite race. Martina just having an absolute blinder, and we've done a bit of training with her in Australia, so I can't be happier for her.
Yeah, I think for me also it was that Spanish men's K2 200 metres, just blasted it out of there. That was extremely classy indeed. I'd love to see what training they're doing. Yeah, very, very classy indeed. Well, thank you very much indeed to Elise Burnett from the Australian Women's K2, who's heading out to Rio this summer to make her Olympic debut. Very good luck to you, and a good luck to Alyssa Bull, who you're paddling with as well. Thank you very much for joining us here this afternoon. And thank you very much to you who've been watching and listening back at home. What an exciting afternoon of paddling we've had here in Duisburg. All those Olympic spots have been finalised, and it's definitely shaping up to be an incredible Olympic Games this summer in Rio. Just to recap, it was Hungary that took the winning spot in the men's K2000. In the men's C2000, it was Romania who took that place. In the men's K1 200 metres, Bence Horvath of Hungary and Saul Cravioto of Spain. And in the C1 200 metres, it was Alfonso Benavides of Spain and Zaza Nadaradze of Georgia. And just finally, in the women's K1 200, it was Sabine Volz of Germany and Linnea Stensels of Sweden. That's all for us here this afternoon in Duisburg.